Africa, a land of immense beauty, rich culture, and breathtaking treasures hidden deep beneath the soil. But beyond the gold and the oil lies another story, one of color, brilliance, and geological wonder. This is the story of Africa's gemstones that changed history. Today, we embark on a fruitful gemstone hunt across the African continent, a journey through time, place, and purpose. We'll explore how Africa has become one of the most significant players in the global gemstone market. From ancient discoveries to modern fame, from struggles to success stories. To understand the modern gemstone industry in Africa, we must first journey far back into history, thousands of years ago, when these shimmering stones were not just commodities but sacred symbols, royal ornaments, and powerful spiritual tools. Africa's legacy in the world of gemstones is far older than many realize. While the global spotlight on African gems is relatively recent, the truth is that this continent has been connected to precious stones since the very dawn of civilization. One of the earliest and most well-documented instances of gemstone mining in Africa occurred in ancient Egypt, around 3000 BCE. The Egyptians were among the first cultures to appreciate and extract gemstones not just for their beauty, but for their symbolic and spiritual significance. Turquoise, mined in the Sinai Peninsula, then considered part of northeastern Africa, was revered by the ancient Egyptians. They called it mefkat, meaning joy or delight. Turquoise was used in royal jewelry, funeral masks, and religious artifacts. Perhaps the most famous example is the funeral mask of Tutankhamun, adorned with inlays of turquoise, lapis lazuli, and carnelian. Lapis lazuli, although imported from Afghanistan, became a staple gemstone in Egyptian craftsmanship. But alongside these imports, native stones were also treasured. Carnelian, a deep red-orange stone found in Egypt and parts of Nubia, modern-day Sudan, was carved into beads, amulets, and rings believed to offer protection in the afterlife. To the south of Egypt, in the ancient kingdom of Kush, located in modern-day Sudan, gemstone usage also flourished. The Kushite kingdom, which ruled over Egypt during the 25th dynasty, had its own culture and trade networks that extended across the Sahara and into sub-Saharan Africa. Here, quartz, garnet, and amethyst were valued for ceremonial use and as trade items. These ancient civilizations not only mined and traded gemstones but understood their metaphysical properties, assigning them meanings tied to healing, divine power, and protection. Now, let's move east, to the ancient Abyssinian highlands, present-day Ethiopia. Ethiopia is perhaps the most underrated player in the ancient gemstone trade, even though its involvement goes back at least 2 millennia. As early as the 1st century AD, the Roman scholar Pliny the Elder referenced opals that were believed to come from a region beyond Egypt. Many historians believe he was referring to Ethiopia. These opals were prized for their vivid colors and shifting play of light, what we now call opalescence. While Rome glorified Indian and Persian gems, Ethiopian stones quietly made their way into Mediterranean markets via Red Sea trade routes. Beyond opals, Ethiopia has long been home to sapphires, emeralds, and garnets, though they remained largely under the global radar for centuries. In Ethiopian Christian tradition, gems such as sapphire and garnet were considered divine gifts, symbols of light and heavenly wisdom, often embedded in crosses, crowns, and church relics. Let's not forget the trans-Saharan trade routes, which played a crucial role in the movement of gemstones from the African interior to the Mediterranean world. Caravans laden with salt, gold, ivory, and yes, precious stones, traveled from Central and West Africa to trading centers like Timbuktu and Cairo. In West Africa, particularly in areas of what is now Nigeria, archaeological finds have revealed the early use of agate, quartz, and chalcedony among the Nok culture, which flourished between 1500 BCE and 500 CE. These stones were often used in ornamental figures, beads, and ceremonial artifacts. The Nok were not alone. The Yoruba, Benin, and Ashanti cultures also incorporated polished stones into their royal regalia. Though these were often not physiqued in the modern gemological sense, they were nonetheless deeply revered and reserved for spiritual leaders and royalty. In southern Africa, early use of gemstones is less documented archaeologically but geologically significant. The region is extraordinarily rich in pegmatites and volcanic formations that give rise to tourmaline, topaz, aquamarine, and later, diamonds. Even before the famed diamond discoveries of the 19th century, native tribes like the San and Khoikhoi of southern Africa often encountered sparkling crystals in riverbeds and caves. These may have been quartz or garnet, but the knowledge of their use was largely oral and spiritual, lost or suppressed during colonization. In many African societies, stones were never just decorative, they were sacred. A stone's color, hardness, and brilliance were often seen as metaphors for divine qualities, endurance, vitality, transformation. Red stones like carnelian and garnet symbolized life force and protection. Blue stones like lapis and sapphire were seen as calming, celestial, and wise. Clear quartz was associated with purity and the divine spirit. These meanings echo across cultures, but Africa's interpretations were rich, diverse, and deeply spiritual. What's most fascinating is that Africa's ancient gemstone legacy wasn't rooted in commerce, but in cosmology. Gems were not mined for profit but for purpose. Their meanings were integrated into birth rituals, burials, kingship ceremonies, and healing traditions. And yet, despite this rich history, the Western world would largely overlook African gemstones until the colonial period, when exploration, exploitation, and mineral surveys unearthed a literal treasure trove beneath African soil. But make no mistake, the knowledge, the reverence, and the use of gemstones in Africa predate colonization by millennia. As we move forward in this journey, remember, Africa was not a latecomer to the world of gemstones. It was, and still is, a birthplace of beauty, mystery, and natural wonder. This is where the story begins. Opal. A stone unlike any other. With its kaleidoscope of colors and shifting inner fire, it almost seems alive, like it's whispering secrets from the earth itself. But few know that some of the earliest and finest opals in human history came not from Australia, nor from Europe, but from the ancient highlands of Ethiopia. In the archives of ancient history, opals were revered across civilizations. The earliest mention of opals dates back over 2,000 years. The Roman author and philosopher Pliny the Elder, writing in his monumental work Natural History in the 1st century AD, described opals as the most beautiful and mysterious of all gems. He wrote, "For in them you shall see the living fire of the ruby, the glorious purple of the amethyst, the sea green of the emerald, all glittering together in an incredible mixture of light." But where were these opals from? Though Pliny never specified Ethiopia by name, historians and gemologists believe that the ancient source of Roman opals was most likely Ethiopia, not the more famous mines of later centuries in Europe or Australia. Why? Because long before European colonial geologists began cataloging African minerals, there were well-established trade routes between Northeast Africa and the Mediterranean world. Ethiopian merchants and Kushite traders moved goods along the Red Sea trade corridor, connecting the Horn of Africa with Egypt, Arabia, and the Roman Empire. This ancient corridor, often referred to as the incense route or maritime Silk Road, carried not only frankincense and myrrh, but gold, ivory, and stones of light, among them, opals. Opals likely made their way from the Wollo Highlands or Shua province, high in the Ethiopian mountains, down to the Red Sea ports such as Adulis, near modern-day Eritrea. From there they would travel to Alexandria in Egypt and eventually reach Roman jewelers. What made these stones so captivating? Ethiopian opals are hydrophane opals, meaning they can absorb water. When dry, they may appear milky white or semi-translucent. But once exposed to moisture or polished, their inner fire is revealed. Brilliant flashes of red, green, blue, and violet dance across their surface, shifting as the light moves. This quality may have added to their mystique, as ancient traders believed they held spiritual energy that changed with the mood or health of the wearer. But opals were not just admired, they were believed to be divine. In ancient Ethiopian and Kushite traditions, stones were deeply spiritual. Opals, with their ethereal glow, were associated with prophecy, divine favor, and the spirit realm. Some believed that opals housed the souls of ancestors or served as conduits to the divine. Others wore them to bring clarity, protect against disease, or to channel the forces of nature. These beliefs later found their way into Greco-Roman thought, where opals were dubbed the Cupid stone, believed to bring luck in love, and even protect from disease. Roman generals and senators often gifted opals to lovers or wore them in battle as talismans. By the 2nd century AD, opals had become one of the most valuable stones in Rome. The Roman consul Nunius reportedly chose exile over surrendering his prized opal ring to the ambitious general Mark Antony, who wanted it for Cleopatra. Such was the power and allure of the opal. And while the European fascination with opals continued, Ethiopia's contribution was largely forgotten, hidden behind centuries of colonial disruption, oral histories left unrecorded, and the rise of other gem sources. For nearly 2,000 years, Ethiopia's ancient opal trade faded into obscurity, until it resurfaced in the modern era in the most unexpected way. In 1994, in a small village near Mazezo, located in Ethiopia's Shua province, farmers stumbled upon curious, colorful stones in the soil. They had no idea they were holding hydrophane opals, descendants of the very stones once cherished by Roman emperors. Local miners and traders soon began harvesting the opals, and gem dealers from across the world took notice. But it was only the beginning. In 2008, a major discovery was made in the Wello province, one that would change the gemstone world forever. Wello opals, also known as Wullo opals, were unlike anything ever seen. These opals had not just the familiar fiery play of color, but they came in brilliant crystal-clear bodies, honey-like amber tones, and even rare color patterns like harlequin and rainbow. Today, Ethiopia is the second largest opal-producing country in the world, after Australia. But Ethiopian opals offer something unique: their mystical, historical resonance combined with unmatched variety in color and texture. These stones are more than minerals, they are living memories of trade, tradition, and transformation. The journey of Ethiopian opals is a powerful metaphor, a gem once admired by the ancients, lost in time, and rediscovered by the very people whose ancestors may have first unearthed them. And so, as we look at these shimmering stones, glowing from within, revealing flashes of a world unseen, we are not merely looking at beauty. We are looking at history crystallized. Each opal is a timeline, a thread in a vast story stretching from the highlands of Ethiopia to the courts of Cleopatra, from Roman relics to modern gem showcases. It's a story of how something buried deep beneath the earth can rise again, not just to shine, but to speak of who we were and who we still are. This is the legacy of Ethiopian opals. While Africa's ancient gemstone legacy lay hidden in oral traditions and forgotten trade routes, the 20th century would bring an entirely new chapter, one marked by scientific curiosity, colonial exploration, and the emergence of a global gemstone economy. This era became known as Africa's gemstone discovery boom, a time when the earth revealed some of its most brilliant secrets. It began in the shadow of colonization, as European governments and foreign prospectors fanned out across Africa searching not just for gold and diamonds, but also for industrial minerals, strategic metals, and yes, colored gemstones. But few could have predicted that beneath the rugged hills and savannas lay stones that would change the jewelry industry forever. One of the most defining stories of this period began in Tanzania, then known as Tanganyika, in the 1950s. British geologist Campbell Bridges, a name that would become legendary in gemology, was conducting field research near the Leletima Mountains, close to the Kenyan border. While exploring the area's ancient metamorphic rocks, he discovered a stunning green variety of grossular garnet. It had a brilliance, hardness, and fire unlike anything previously seen in garnets. After years of testing and bureaucratic struggle, Bridges formally introduced the stone in the 1970s. It was named Tsavorite, after the nearby Tsavo National Park in Kenya. Bridges later moved to Kenya to develop safer mining operations due to Tanzanian instability. Though it took time, Tsavorite would become a prized alternative to emeralds, valued for its toughness, purity, and electric green color. But the gem that truly shook the world came just a few years later, and not from a seasoned geologist, but from a Maasai tribesman. In 1967, a man named Ali Juyawatu was walking through the foothills of the Miloni Hills, just south of Mount Kilimanjaro, when he stumbled upon something extraordinary: vivid blue crystals lying near the surface. He brought them to local traders, who in turn contacted Campbell Bridges. Bridges immediately recognized the potential of this gem, a vibrant blue to violet variety of zoisite, a mineral that had never before been seen in such color or transparency. The gem was officially identified and catalogued. But it still lacked a name the market could latch onto. Enter Tiffany & Company. The prestigious New York jeweler partnered with Bridges and rebranded the gem as Tanzanite, highlighting its exclusive geographic origin. With a massive marketing campaign in 1969, Tiffany declared Tanzanite to be the most beautiful blue stone to be discovered in over 2,000 years. And just like that, a global obsession was born. To the southwest, in Namibia, another star was rising. Demantoid garnet, a rare and fiery green variety of andradite, had been known from Russia since the 1800s. But during the 1970s, small deposits began appearing in Namibia's Irongo region, in the deserts surrounding the town of Usakos. These stones, with their brilliant dispersion and fine clarity, began to rival their Russian cousins, particularly as Soviet-era mining slowed during the Cold War. Demantoid's return to the global market gave Africa yet another gem to be proud of. Meanwhile, in the heart of southern Africa, Zambia was preparing to challenge one of the gemstone world's longest-standing dominances, Colombian emerald. In the late 1970s, geologists began finding large deposits of high-quality emeralds in Zambia's Copperbelt province, specifically near the town of Kafubu. The stones were embedded in ancient schist and quartzite rock, formed under immense geological pressure over hundreds of millions of years. Unlike the lush green of Colombian emeralds, Zambian emeralds often displayed a deeper, bluish-green hue with higher clarity and fewer inclusions. By 1984, the Kagem mine was established, a joint venture between the Zambian government and private investors. The mine grew to become the largest emerald mine in the world, producing over 20% of global emerald supply by the early 2000s. Geoffrey Wilkinson, a British geologist, was instrumental in surveying and expanding the mine. Under his leadership and later with the involvement of Gemfields, Zambian emeralds gained a new reputation, not only beautiful, but ethically sourced and traceable. In 1994, a quiet revolution began in the Ethiopian highlands. Farmers near the village of Mazezo, in the Shua province, discovered bright-colored stones in their soil. They were opals, hydrophane opals, to be precise, similar to those referenced in ancient Roman texts. Within a few years, a small mining industry emerged. But it was in 2008, in Wello province, that the full brilliance of Ethiopian opals stunned the world. These new Wello opals were vibrant, stable, and came in every color imaginable, from snow white and honey yellow to neon pink and fire red. Ethiopia, a country once associated only with history and coffee, suddenly became a world leader in opal production, surpassing even Mexico in market share. By the end of the 20th century, Africa had gone from a mysterious footnote in gemstone literature to a dominant force. Gemstones once monopolized by a few countries, emeralds by Colombia, rubies by Burma, sapphires by Sri Lanka, now had African competitors that were equally or more stunning. More importantly, these gems came from undiscovered lands, where mining not only brought foreign interest, but local transformation. Schools were built, communities were formed, and economies were born around the brilliance of Earth's buried treasures. Yet this discovery boom wasn't just about mineral wealth. It was about visibility. It was about recognition. And it was about reclaiming Africa's geological voice on the world stage. The boom of the 20th century wasn't merely a series of chance discoveries. It was the rebirth of a legacy, an unveiling of Africa's mineral soul to a world finally ready to look beneath the surface. From the hills of Tanzania to the deserts of Namibia, from Zambia's copper belt to Ethiopia's sacred highlands, every strike of a pickaxe, every glimmer in the soil, told a story. A story of nature's patience, of human curiosity, and of Africa's rightful place in the global treasury of gemstone brilliance. As the camera pans over the rugged Tanzanian terrain and faded footage of a young geologist inspecting deep blue crystals, we meet one of Africa's most iconic figures in gemstone history, Campbell Bridges. In the late 1960s, Bridges, already known for his earlier discovery of tsavorite garnet, was invited to examine a curious new find brought forward by a local Maasai tribesman named Ali Juyawatu. What Bridges saw stunned him: brilliant blue-violet crystals embedded in the soil of Tanzania's Miloni Hills, just south of Mount Kilimanjaro. These were no ordinary minerals. They were a rare blue variety of zoisite, completely unknown to the gem trade. Scientific testing confirmed it was a unique form, with the deep hues of sapphire but a dazzling trichroism, shifting between blue, violet, and burgundy depending on the angle. Recognizing its potential, Bridges sought international attention. But it took the marketing genius of Tiffany & Company in New York to give this gem a name and a future. Tiffany coined the name Tanzanite, tying the gem forever to its place of origin. With bold magazine ads and glamorous jewelry displays, they launched Tanzanite onto the world stage in 1969. Almost overnight, it became a sensation, praised for its rarity, beauty, and exotic story. Tanzanite wasn't just a gemstone. It was Africa's first luxury brand. And it had one source only, a single hill in Tanzania. As the 20th century progressed and into the 21st, the African continent, once viewed solely through the lens of diamond and gold mining, began to reveal a far more colorful identity. Beneath its hills, forests, deserts, and plateaus lay some of the most dazzling gemstones known to humanity. Now, let us take a country-by-country journey, an exploration not only of stones but of stories. Each nation tells its own tale of geology, discovery, struggle, and brilliance. Tanzania, the land of Tanzanite and Tsavorite. We begin with Tanzania, a nation whose name has become synonymous with rare beauty. Beyond its famed safari parks and Mount Kilimanjaro lies the Miloni Hills, a low-lying ridge near Arusha, where in 1967, a Maasai herder discovered a blue-violet crystal, soon to be named Tanzanite. As we saw earlier, Tiffany and Company introduced it to the world, turning it into a global phenomenon. But Tanzanite isn't Tanzania's only claim to fame. In the northern Leletima Mountains, near the Kenyan border, British geologist Campbell Bridges discovered another green gem in the 1960s, Tsavorite garnet, a stone so brilliant and durable it rivaled emeralds. Unlike emeralds, which often contain inclusions and require oiling, Tsavorite is naturally clean, bright, and tough. Both Tanzanite and Tsavorite are found in metamorphic rock formations, ancient geological zones shaped by intense pressure and heat. These environments create the perfect crucibles for rare gem formation. Today, Tanzania remains the only source of Tanzanite in the world. Its uniqueness makes it a one-generation gemstone, likely to be depleted within decades. That rarity, and the cultural heritage of the Maasai, make Tanzanian gemstones both scientifically fascinating and emotionally significant. Zambia, the emerald powerhouse. Traveling southward, we arrive in Zambia, home to one of the most consistent and respected emerald supplies on Earth. Emeralds were first reported in Zambia in the 1920s, but large-scale exploration didn't begin until the 1970s, when geologists identified commercial quantities in the Copperbelt province, near the town of Kafubu. These emeralds were different. Formed in schist and quartzite, they had a richer bluish-green tone, often clearer and less included than their Colombian cousins. The most famous site is the Kagem mine, established in 1984. By the 2000s, the mine became a joint venture with Gemfields, a British company known for promoting ethical sourcing and sustainability. Kagem is now the largest emerald mine in the world, responsible for over 20% of global emerald production. What's especially valuable about Zambian emeralds is not just their quality, but their consistency. They've helped stabilize the emerald market, offering stones that are durable, traceable, and often untreated. In Zambia, emerald mining is not just an industry, it's a backbone of the national economy, employing thousands and supporting local infrastructure and schools. Ethiopia, a new gem frontier. Next, we journey east to Ethiopia, a land of ancient civilization, rugged highlands, and more recently, brilliant gemstone discoveries. The world was reintroduced to Ethiopian gems in 1994, when farmers near Mazezo uncovered fiery stones while tilling their fields. These were hydrophane opals, capable of absorbing water and glowing with surreal flashes of color. But the true turning point came in 2008, in Wello province, where large deposits of Wello opal were found, among the most stable and vivid opals in the world. Ethiopia quickly became the second largest producer of opals after Australia. Ethiopia didn't stop at opals. In 2016, significant deposits of emerald were discovered near the southern region of Shakiso, producing large, gem-quality crystals with a bright, lively green. They were quickly embraced by the international market and now compete with Zambian stones. Ethiopia also has sapphire deposits in the Tigray region, producing blue, pink, and yellow sapphires of high clarity. Though still in developmental stages, Ethiopia's gemstone sector holds enormous promise. Importantly, the government has begun investing in lapidary schools and gem-cutting training, helping value stay within the country rather than exporting only rough stones. Ethiopia, once viewed as a historical nation, is now becoming a gemstone giant of the future. Mozambique, the Ruby Awakening, one of the most transformative gemstone discoveries in Africa, came recently, from the forests of northern Mozambique. In 2009, in the Montepuez region, local villagers discovered vivid red stones while clearing land for farming. These turned out to be rubies, but not just any rubies. These were exceptionally clean, vivid, and rich in chromium, rivaling the legendary rubies of Burma, Myanmar. The discovery led to the establishment of the Montepuez Ruby Mine, a joint venture between Gemfields and local company Mwiriti Limited. Today, it is the largest ruby-producing mine in the world. Mozambique's rubies have transformed the global market. In the past, gem-quality rubies were among the rarest stones in the world, found primarily in Asia. But Montepuez changed the game, offering steady supply, transparency, and stones that were ethically sourced. This ruby boom has also brought challenges, conflicts over land rights, illegal mining, and security concerns. But it has also created jobs, attracted investment, and placed Mozambique firmly on the global gemstone map. In just over a decade, Mozambique has gone from a footnote to a leader in the ruby world. Nigeria, tourmaline, topaz, and hidden potential. Now, we turn west to Nigeria, a country rich in culture, oil, and, less famously, gemstones. Since the early 1990s, Nigerian miners have unearthed tourmaline in a rainbow of colors: green, pink, blue, and multicolored bicolors, especially in Oyo, Nasarawa, and Kaduna states. Nigerian tourmaline is prized for its clarity and vibrant color, and many pieces are exported to Thailand and Brazil for cutting. But Nigeria also produces topaz, spessartite garnet, zircon, and even small quantities of sapphire. While much of its gemstone sector remains artisanal and informal, the potential is immense. In recent years, Nigerian gem dealers and miners have begun organizing into cooperatives, attending international gem shows, and investing in domestic polishing workshops. As infrastructure and regulation improve, Nigeria may soon become a regional hub for colored gemstones. Madagascar, an island of infinite color. Just off Africa's southeast coast lies Madagascar, an island famous for its biodiversity, but equally blessed with mineral riches. Madagascar's gemstone story began in earnest in the 1990s, with the discovery of large quantities of sapphire near Ilakaka. What was once a sleepy village became a sapphire rush town almost overnight. The country is now one of the world's top producers of blue, pink, and Padpuradshah sapphires, alongside tourmaline, garnet, aquamarine, and even color-change alexandrite. Madagascar's geology is among the most diverse on Earth, making it a treasure chest for gemstone hunters. Though plagued by informal mining and environmental concerns, international support is helping Madagascar improve gem certification, export quality, and local lapidary capacity. Each of these nations, Tanzania, Zambia, Ethiopia, Mozambique, Nigeria, and Madagascar, has brought something unique to the world of gemstones. They've challenged old narratives. They've added color to a market once dominated by diamonds. And they've created livelihoods and pride in places often overlooked. In every mine, every riverbed, and every gem market across Africa, you'll find more than just stones. You'll find stories of hope, of discovery, of identity. Because in Africa, gemstones are more than beauty. They are bridges, connecting geology to history, local hands to global luxury. And the journey has only just begun. Africa's soil holds more than just gemstones, it holds stories. Stories of resilience, discovery, culture, and hope. From the highlands of Ethiopia to the savannas of Tanzania, from the mines of Zambia to the markets of Mozambique, each gemstone is a shining symbol of Africa's past, present, and future. So, the next time you see a sparkling emerald, a deep red ruby, or a mesmerizing Tanzanite, remember, it's not just a stone. It's a piece of Africa's soul. This was a fruitful gemstone hunt in Africa. Stay tuned for part 2. Don't forget to leave your opinion in the comment section, like, and share.
Subscribe for more videos like this.